try to tamp down my little flyaways. And we can start. There doesn't seem to be a limit on how many books you can choose for each of these prompts. And I was looking through my bookshelves, and for some of them I was finding it 0, and for some of them I was finding many, 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 many 10s. Am I allowed to add on a few prompts? I think I will at the end. Stay tuned for the prompts that I decide to add on to this aesthetic book tag. It's me, Jess. I am here to complete the aesthetically pleasing book tag, which is apparently so old that we don't have the original reference for it. I was tagged by Kat at Lit with Kat. Thanks, Kat, for tagging me. This is such a fun idea. I will go through the different aesthetically significant elements of the tag. There are, I don't know how many, I didn't count them. There are quite a few, from favorite colors to typography to favorite spine. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. For those of you that clicked on the thumbnail because you thought that a half-clad Marlon Brando was my favorite book cover, you're going to be in for a big surprise. Which brings me to, well, no, I'll leave it for the end of the video. Anyway, so yeah, there's just a series of bests. I guess there are not questions, there's just a series of bests. So, okay, best colors. I have a really hard time with this tag because I'm not a best colors, best kind of girl. So best colors, here are, I have 4. For me, okay, so I'm not a big fan of pink, but I do think that the sunset on the cover of Milkman is absolutely gorgeous for colors. I guess in the real world, if you're looking for amazing, so I do think that in real life, there's probably nothing more beautiful than a sunset or a sunrise. So it was a good idea to have this as a cover. Is it related to the book? I guess that's not part of the question. This is just aesthetic preferences. So this is a beautiful cover. That is a gorgeous set of colors on a cover. Similarly, I really like, I miss the ocean. I miss being near the ocean. So I really like kind of oceans on covers or ocean scenes on covers. This I think is quite beautiful in terms of the colors because you have a little bit of pink in the sky and you also have the blue turning to purple, and then you have the different kind of blue of the ocean, which is gorgeous. This cover, I really, really like the colors here as well because they remind me of a quilt. A colorful quilt, and that also kind of reminds me of home. It reminds me of Nova Scotia, but I also just think it's really pretty the way the colors, it's very colorful. So I guess I like colors on book covers, or I like these colorful book covers. Another one that is maybe going to come up again because I think it's one of my favorite covers is this cover, or this series anyway, of editions, vintage classics, especially the Virginia Woolf covers are quite gorgeous. I don't know who the artist is. I wonder if it says original illustration by Vanessa Bell. And so that also very sweet, very, very sweet. And then I just got this book and I think that this color combination is quite gorgeous too. The contrasting blue and taupe color I think is really beautiful. So those are some of the color combinations that I really enjoy on a book cover. I don't know if we can give an honorable mention to book covers that match your manicure, because this would be a shoo-in. If that was one of the questions, that would be a shoo-in. I do think that this cover is quite beautiful, actually, because it's got sky. I think I had pulled a couple of other ones that have water, like the Swimmers. Maybe I should just pull it and show it. Yeah, so this is the Swimmers, and that has the pool, which I think is awesome. So I like those kind of ocean vibes, water vibes. I like this cover. I even ordered this cover of Sorrow and Bliss from the Book Depository when it was still open because I love the color combination of the yellow and the blue. That's beautiful. This cover of The Death of Vivek OG with gray and all of the sort of flame colors. I think it's meant to represent a fire. We need another tag with interpretation of covers. But I think this is a really beautiful color combination as well. I guess the last one I'll talk about is this one, Consent. Just the pale pink in the perfume bottle and the spray of paint. I think it's really pretty cover. And then the green and that combination of that green, olivey green, and that pale pink. Beautiful. The next best is Typography. I do like a book cover that communicates something about the book or pulls me in a certain way, and I think that the book design in general is important maybe for that reason. I don't think that's one of the, I think it's just aesthetics. I think it's just aesthetics on this tag, but this one, Radio Silence, I do think that this is just so cool. The way it looks like the title is lit up in headlights, and these are another kind of form of light with the dotted letters and then the very small print off into the distance. I think that's really cool. I think that's a really interesting and thoughtful way to present the book's cover, title, and pulls you in. And of course the book is titled Radio Silence, so it has the vibe of nighttime and listening to something maybe forbidden, and then the little words that say, hello, I hope somebody is listening. Love it. I love this. I think it's genius. I love the typography of the Society of the Crossed Keys because it's supposed to give you the feeling of a cross stitch. And I haven't read this yet, so I'm not sure what the significance of that would be, but I imagine there's some significance to it. It's supposed to have been the inspiration for the Grand Budapest Hotel, and it was a gift from my dad because he thought I would enjoy it because I enjoyed Wes Anderson's film, The Grand Budapest Hotel. I think this is really cool for ghosts, the way the title fades as a ghost is, what's the word, transparent. So, you know, that the idea that you could kind of put your hand through a ghost. Anyway, cool cover, cool typography. And that's just the way that they've done the typography that makes that such a cool cover, in my opinion. The colors are good too. This copy of Zadie Smith's On Beauty, I actually had 2 copies of this book and I ended up keeping this copy because I like how the floral design or pattern comes through on the lettering. I think that's really neat. This is cool. In terms of typography, Parakeet. I haven't read this book yet, but I like how the title is a zoom, so it's zooming out and zooming in. I'm not sure what that has to do with the story, but I think it's really cool looking. And then this is a really strange one. I admit this is a strange one, but I really like this copy of Wuthering Heights. I don't know if it's because it's an older font, but I just really like that font for some reason. It's got nothing to do with the book, actually. In fact, the cover just really has nothing to do with the story, but I just really like that font. I think it's really good. Good looking font. So let's see, what else? The next is Best Simple Cover. I talked about this book already for my TBR for Misery May, No Exit. This cover is very simple, but I think it's very effective. It's pretty fun. Yeah. It's communicating quite a lot there. So that I think is fantastic as a simple cover. On a similar note, this version of Tana French's In the Woods, which I haven't read yet and found in my local book box, is pretty simple and ominous, right? The single shoe and the wood behind, In the Woods. I think that's fantastic. The Other Black Girl, this is another book that I ordered from the UK because I prefer the UK cover. I think the simplicity of the comb and the prong is broken. So I think that's really cool because we know something's wrong. And then my, I think probably favorite simple cover is Chanel Miller's Know My Name because, and I didn't notice this until after having read the book, but the cracks on the cover are painted in gold. So the gold paint that's used on the cover to repair cracks is a reference to kintsugi, I hope I'm saying that right, which is the Japanese art of putting broken pottery pieces back together with gold. It's really a metaphor for embracing flaws and imperfections, and it's such a simple idea to have on the cover, but it speaks so much to Chanel Miller's story and her idea of reclaiming herself by writing this book and putting herself back together, so to speak. And I just think it's beautiful. Best end pages. I don't actually have a lot of books with end pages, so this is a really tricky one for me. I have two though. This one making an appearance again, Virginia Woolf's Flesh, in this version of it, because the end pages are so cute. They're little puppy dog paws, and I thought that's pretty adorable. And I also have one of these editions, Macmillan Collector's Library editions of The Picture of Dorian Gray, and the end pages are quite beautiful on these editions. They have this kind of floral printed paper on them. I don't know what that's called, the gold leaf. I guess it's called gold leaf on the side. Quite beautiful. Best map. I don't have a lot of books that have maps in them. I think this is probably the coolest book with a map. And this has a series of maps in it. So this is The Mercies by Kieran Millwood Hargrave. It's not that the map is all that great. It's just a kind of basic map of the region. But I think it's really cool, this part of it, which shows the kind of the mapping of the storm, because the storm in the story is really significant. And so I think that's really cool. But I don't have very many books with maps. Children's books have maps in them. Fantasy books have maps in them. I don't really read a lot of fantasy. So I think just for me, it wasn't an easy one for me to answer. Best naked hardcover. This little copy of The Wind in the Willows, I think has a really beautiful, if you take the slipcover off, it does have a really beautiful spine and makes it a really beautiful naked hardback because of the crosses on the spine. And I also have two folio. These were gifted to me, and they're absolutely gorgeous, these folio books. And so this folio book, I consider like sliding it out of its case as giving you the naked hardcover. This is Anne of Avonlea, and it has this beautiful etched illustration on the front, which is absolutely stunning. Yeah, it's just gorgeous. Isn't that beautiful? So those are, I think, my two favorite best naked hardcover. Now we're up to best back covers. So I don't have a ton of books that have back covers that are all that fantastic. I'm going to go back to yours truly, which is the back cover of Flesh. This, I think, is really wonderful because it has a little quote there. Isn't that cute? I think that's adorable. I guess I need to invest in maybe some nicer copies of books, but at the moment that's going to be just a wish list type of a thing. I do have this beautiful copy of Shirley Jackson, The Haunting of Hill House. I think this is a beautiful cover. I think it's really eerie, and it's wonderful because the wood extends around the spine and into the back side, and I think that the back side is maybe even eerier. So that, I think, is fantastic. Same idea with my copy. I invested in a really gorgeous copy of The Master and Margarita, which has the same kind of idea where the scenes are on the back are scenes that are evoking St. Petersburg and the scenes from the book in terms of its setting. And then I have this nonfiction book called White Fragility, which I think it's really cool because it's this idea of whiteness being fragile and easily broken. And the back looks like shards of glass that are broken. I thought that was really cool back. Oh, also for best naked hardback, I have this tiny little copy of Middlemarch, this little copy of Middlemarch, if you take the sleeve off, which I'm going to do very, very gently, what is so beautiful about this is that it has a little insignia on it. I don't know if you can see that. It's an Oxford Press book, published by Oxford, so it must be the emblem of Oxford. I really like this, the backs, the simple backs of the spines of these books are quite beautiful. Again, Wind in the Willows, beautiful spine. I think these spines are cool. This is not a new thing that hasn't been done before though. Like I have Kim Gordon's memoir, Girl in a Band, and the same photo of her is repeated on the spine, which is cool. And then I have Geraldine Brooks's Year of Wonders, where the woman's face rolls over onto the spine and onto the back, and I think that's always really neat. Next question, best illustrations. Okay, so I will just preface this by saying I'm not quite sure how I feel about Margaret Atwood these days. I was gifted a folio edition of The Handmaid's Tale, and that was before she tweeted the tweet that she tweeted. But it is absolutely gorgeous, and the illustrations in this book are out of this world. Like, look at that illustration. It is stunning. And yeah, just as a side note, this is why the stuff with Margaret Atwood bothers me, because this is a beautiful edition of the book. The illustrations are by Anna and Elena Balbuso, and they're stunning, and I wouldn't want anyone to feel like they can't appreciate something like this, which is how I was feeling a little awkward before I came on talking about it. But I guess it's a situation where we've got to appreciate the art as separate from the story or from the situation. Here's another gorgeous illustration. These illustrations are beautiful, and I do love this copy. So I think she just claims that she just believes in free speech, but I'm still not sure that that's good enough for me. But I will still love my folio edition of her book. But those are the best illustrations. I will give an honorable mention to this copy of Wind in the Willows, though, because it has some pretty charming illustrations as well. Just really charming little sketches and illustrations. Just really sweet. And the illustrations in this book are by E.H. Shepard. I think I missed best chapter headings. I did. I got so distracted that I missed best chapter headings. So I did pull for best chapter headings my fave, Kafka. This edition of Kafka's book has chapter headings, and I guess this could be best illustrations too, because this edition has, at the beginning of the chapters, it has drawings by Kafka himself, and I just think that's superb. That is really quite wonderful. Here's another one. I don't want to tear the book because the book is a bit delicate. I think that's pretty fantastic. So this is a very special edition for me because of the drawings that are part of the headings for each chapter. This book is getting beaten up though. You can hear the spine crack. Anyway. So yeah, love that so much. Okay, I think we've gone to the last prompt, which is favorite covers. So if any of you have been watching my channel for any amount of time, you will know that I had a bit of a saga getting this particular copy of My Policeman for the cover. So I had another copy of My Policeman. Actually, I've had two other copies of My Policeman. One of them got lost in a Camino tow car. Another one got bought at a used bookstore to replace it. And then finally, I did order this from the UK because I prefer this cover to the other cover. I'll just put up the other cover that I didn't like, which leads me to, I think there should be a prompt for covers that we don't like. I will get to that in a minute. This copy of My Policeman has people swimming, and actually the back cover of this is cool too, because it looks like it's an image of the town. I just really think it's wonderful. The spine is great too. Could have picked this for the spine too. This has it all. It's a triple thrash. And yeah, so really love this cover. It's one of my favorite covers. It's also just a fantastic book that I really love, so it goes hand in hand. I do think that we should add on to this tag for covers you don't like. So this copy of My Policeman is the one that I didn't like. And I really didn't like it. I did not like this. I don't like movie covers. For example, The Hours, this movie cover. Don't like it. Yuck, not a fan. And this, which I was so happy to have found in my book box, but this cover of Streetcar Named Desire with a scantily clad, not clad Marlon Brando, I could really do without, particularly because of what the play deals with. Why? Why, I ask myself. There's so many covers I could talk about that I hate. So yeah, I think we should add that to the tag. Covers you don't like. Anyway, I'm not the audience for that cover. Okay, so other covers, other favorite covers. I talked about this cover when I reviewed this book when I first started my booktube channel. The book was all right. The cover is amazing. I mean, it looks like it's moving. I love the effect of this cover where it just looks like the clouds are moving. It looks like her face is moving because of the way it's designed. It's an amazing cover. I do like faces on covers, I think. I think that would be a common thread for me. I do like faces. I like a good piece of artwork on a cover. I really like this cover of The Dutch House by Anne Patchett. I think it's quite beautiful and it's significant. It has meaning to the story. I like covers that have meaning to the story. I love this cover of Crime and Punishment with the illustration on the front where he's carrying his axe and how the title is written on his person. I just think that's such an amazing cover. Oh, this has a pretty good back cover too. Look at that. I do have books that have good back covers. A Skull Macabre's Dream is the name of the artwork that's on the cover, and I think it's an actual art piece done in pencil on paper by Mikhail Shemyakin is the name of the artist. Gorgeous. I think that's what it says on the back, and this is the credit right here. I'll let you guys read it because... So that's the credit right there for the artwork. I really like the cover of Night Bitch because I think it's fun. And I really like the book and I think it's a fun cover. It communicates a lot about the story, the way the meat is shaped in the shape of a dog. I think that's really cool. I could go on, but I think we're going to stop there because that's a lot of covers to be talking about and a lot of books to have talked about. Thank you so much to Kat for tagging me. So I'm going to tag Shelly because I didn't tag her in the big books video that I did and I regret that. So I'm going to tag Shelly. Shelly, consider yourself tagged. I'm also going to tag Priscilla. Priscilla, you just tagged me in another tag, so I'm tagging you on this tag. We go back and forth. That's fun. I'm also going to tag Sonia at An Enthusiastic Reader because Sonia's channel is new to me and I guess I'm curious, Sonia, what you think. Backs at Sniffing the Sheets, who's a new booktuber, new to me booktuber. I think that's good. 4 people is good. So if you got to the end of the video, thanks so much for watching. Wow, you know, book covers, they can really influence us. I have literally bought books just because of their cover. I really have. It's been fun. It's been a treat. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye. Are you making faces at me? You are. You totally are. I have an audience today who's like rolling their eyes at everything I say. All right. As it should be. As you were. As you were. Okay. Oh, my copy of Unsettled Ground is downstairs. It's one of my favorite covers. Oh well. Some of my books aren't with me. I guess I could put the image of it in. Yeah. So one of the books that I don't have with me, sorry for the chewing noise, the dogs are sharing a bone in the corner. So as usual, there's chewing noise on the video. Welcome back to my channel. Oh, that's loud, Phoebe. It's loud, right? She doesn't have any teeth. It's just so loud. It's like as soon as I go to film, this is what happens. Like something happens. There's tapping outside. And there's the dogs are showing the bone. Yeah, you can hear it. Trust me, when I'm editing, I'm like, oh my god, chewing, make it stop. So I think it's also very distracting to me. Maybe you could do that out on the porch.